This video is brought to you by Squarespace.
I just rode through the city in my pajamas on the back of a scooter to get back to the hotel.
Guys, we're expecting
twins.
the stress of not being able to fix the problem because you're like, I can't contact anyone. Remember, Google doesn't work in China.
It's an interesting country for something like that to happen because there's a huge language barrier. No idea what was going on. There's like flies flying around me. I was like, what is this? Yeah. Okay guys, today I'm going to be sharing about the story of the time I went to hospital here in rural, remote China. So, the last time you saw us, we were in Yangshan enjoying the beautiful nature here in China. We spent the day bike riding as a family. We went and explored all the mountains. We went and had a painting class with a local Chinese artist. It has been so amazing. And then that night, I went to bed and at 12 o'clock is when everything happened. So it was basically midnight and I woke up and I had like a pain in my stomach. Just like a little pain. So I was like, oh, maybe I've eaten something weird today. Tried to go to the bathroom. Nothing was really happening. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll just go lie down. I'm sure the pain will go away. So this was at midnight. And then by 1 o'clock, I was like, oh my goodness, this pain, it's almost feeling like labor pains. Like I started having to pace around the hotel room. I couldn't lie down. Anytime I lie down, it started to hurt. And then I kept feeling like, do I need to go to the toilet? Like, is this like a stomach bug? But I was like, no, I don't need to go to the toilet. It almost feels like I really need to urinate. And I couldn't wee. So I was like, okay, what is going on? And then by 2 a.m. So I still hadn't woken up Stephen. So Stephen and the kids were still asleep. It's 2 a.m. So it's been 2 hours since the pain. It was like the pain kept flushing over me, just like when I was in labor with the kids and I started throwing up. And that's exactly what happened when I was in labor. I would have like waves of pain and I guess the way that my body would react to the pain was throwing up. So I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? So I woke up Stephen. I was like, am I having a baby? Like, what is going on? I woke him up and I told him I'd been throwing up and then I ran off and threw up again. And of course, seeing as I'm throwing up, saying I had a stomach ache, Stephen's like, oh, you've got a stomach bug. It's going to be okay. So he gave me some water and I don't think he realized how in pain I was because for some reason, when I'm in a lot of pain, again, when I was having the babies, I would just close my eyes and just go into Zen mode and then I'll throw up from the pain. And that's what was happening. But because I kind of go into Zen mode, he can't tell how in pain I am. And so I think he was with me for about half an hour. And then he was like, let's lie down, let's go to sleep. And then maybe in the morning we can go see a doctor if it's still really bad. So I was like, okay. So he went back to sleep. And then by 3 a.m., the pain was still so bad, but I was like, okay, if one of us is going to be staying up all night, it may as well be me. And I'll just let Stephen sleep. And so I just let him be. The pain kept coming. Then by 4 a.m., I was throwing up so much pain. I was like lying on the bathroom floor, just like, what is going on? And then that's when I was like, no, I think I need to see someone right now. But you know, when you're in a remote place, you're just wanting it to be the morning or be the daytime to get things sorted. But it was 4 a.m. Nothing's around. It's so quiet. And so I wake up Stephen and I was like, Steve, please, you need to call an ambulance. You need to do something. And he was like, okay, let me go down and see if anyone's in the reception of the hotel. So he goes down to the reception of the hotel and then he comes back and he's like, Jess, it's pitch black down there. Nothing's down there. Okay, like, I don't know who else to call. There's no one in the hotel. I guess I'll just have to deal with it. And then I think I must have got to 5 a.m. And that's why I was like, Steve, just call the reception. See if anything happens when you call the hotel. So then he calls the hotel and then this sleepy person kind of picks up the phone and he could speak English. And he was like, oh, what's going on? He was like, my wife is in so much pain. She needs to go to the hospital. And instantly he was like, I'm the groundskeeper of the hotel. I'm going to get a driver right now. We can go in 5 minutes. I couldn't believe how quick it all happened. So I was like, oh my gosh, this sounds amazing. But in the moment, I was in so much pain. I was like, Steve, all I want to do is go to the hospital. I wasn't nervous, anything. I was like, all I want to do is fix this pain. So we went down to the reception and then the groundskeeper was there. And then we realized the whole time he was asleep in the reception room. There was like this little cot with a little like fly net over it. And that's where he was sleeping. So that's why he picked up the phone. Stephen just never noticed him when he went down. So he was the one that took me to the hospital along with his friend who was a driver. And he was able to come in 5 minutes. So Stephen just saw me go down the stairs. I wasn't thinking, by the way. All I had with me was a plastic bag because all I thought about was what if I throw up in the van? And then I grabbed a backpack with my phone. And that was it. I forgot my passport. I didn't bring a wallet. You also need WeChat to pay in China. Didn't have WeChat on my phone. We'd been using Stephen's for the like first few days that we've been in China. So I realized I had nothing on me. But at the time I wasn't thinking this. All Stephen saw was me go down the stairs with a plastic bag, a backpack with just my phone in it, thinking, yeah, I'm all packed. There was nothing in it. And I went into a random person's van and Stephen saw me drive away. And we have a blurry picture of the van because in the moment Stephen was like, I should probably try and take a picture of this number plate as Jess is driving away. I don't even know in the picture if you can see the number plate, but that's what happened. I drove away in this van. I had no idea where the hospital was, but in 10 minutes we'd arrived at a hospital. And so it was really dark, just the lights on at the hospital. I go inside and no one is there. There's this one girl sitting at like the reception area. And so I came up and they could only speak Chinese. And it was so kind. The groundskeeper of this hotel and the driver stayed with me the entire time to translate. So we went up and he translated to me that I had to pay to see a doctor. And then that's when I realized I don't have any payment issues here. And they're just seeing me and I'm in pain at the same time as well. So I'm just there holding my breath. Like, I have no money. And I don't have any ID. I have nothing on me. Luckily, they actually didn't ask my ID. They asked me for my name. So I wrote my name. I wrote Jessica Parry Valentine. And they go, that's too long. Oh, okay. So I just crossed it out and wrote Jess. So that was what I was known as, Jess. And so they signed me in as Jess and the driver just paid for me. And at the time, I had no idea how much this was coming to. He was like, I'll just pay. It's fine. So he paid for me. Then I went and spoke to a doctor and I was telling him my symptoms. I was like, I've got really bad pain. I keep throwing up. And that's when I realized he's thinking it's a stomach bug. You know, like I could just tell he's like, it's going to be gastro or something. And so I knew during the night that I was finding it hard to pee. So I just lied and I said, I haven't peed in 3 days. Like I just really, really wanted them to check my kidneys because the pain, I was like, it must be something to do with urine, seeing as I couldn't wee. So I just said that. And then he was like, okay, let me get you an ultrasound. Within 10 minutes, I was walking up these, you had to walk to another building and up these stairs. And I'm in so much pain, but like no one's assisting you. They're like, yep, you just need to walk to this other building, go up these stairs and go get an ultrasound. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like holding onto the walls of this hospital with these two guys following me the whole time, helping me, which was so nice. And I'm walking and they're just looking at me like, what's going on? So I'm walking along. I go into this ultrasound room. And again, the ultrasound lady comes out and she's like, I'm going to do an ultrasound now. I was like, well, this is so quick within 10 minutes. So then I lie down on the bed and this is when I was like in so much pain. I remember I couldn't even open my eyes. I was just lying there being like, please save me. And then they closed the curtains and the guy stood on the other side and translated for me the whole time, which was so nice. They were like so kind. I couldn't get over, I guess, how friendly and caring these two strangers were for me. So they did an ultrasound and then she gave me the ultrasound sheet. It printed in paper. I've got it here. And it was all in Chinese and I couldn't read it. And I was like, okay. So I've got my ultrasound and then I went back to the doctor and he read it and he said, you've got kidney stones. And I was like, okay. I knew it was something to do with the kidney. I knew it was something to do with urine, so I had kidney stones. But again, it doesn't tell you how big the kidney stones are. It doesn't tell you anything. Like all it says is you've got kidney stones. I was like, okay. And so he was like, here's your medicine. And so I went and my first medicine I received was Chinese herbal medicine. So like a tea. So I was like, cool. I was like, no pain meds, none of that. It was literally just tea. And I think when I read on it, it just said it was like broth and would help you urinate. So he gave me that. He told me after the hospital I need to go and have a run to run the kidney stones out. So I was like, cool. And then he gave me a bag of fluids. And then they brought me to this room and it was just these bench seats in lines with poles for drips. So you could have maybe 30 or 40 people at a time sitting on these bench seats just taking an IV. So I sat in the room and he was like, you're going to have this IV for 2 hours. So they attached me to this IV and that's when the driver and the groundskeeper said, we'll go and you just call us when you're ready to get picked up. So I was like, okay. So I'm sitting there by myself. There's like flies flying around. It's kind of half an indoor outdoor kind of setting of this hospital. So I'm sitting there and then I was like, oh, before you hook me up, I should try and go to the toilet. I was like, do you have a toilet? I went. The toilets, there was 3 toilets, it was all squatty potties, no soap to wash your hands and no hand sanitizer. I was like, wow, at a hospital. That was just like interesting to see what it was like. So then I went to the toilet, again, could barely pee, but I just kept feeling like I needed to pee, which clearly was me trying to get these kidney stones out. And so then after that, I sat down in the room, they plugged me up to the little IV and I just sat in this chair and I was in so much pain. I was just sitting there like this, just like waiting to hope, because I didn't know what was in the IV. And I was like, I please hope there is some sort of pain meds in this IV. But I knew that there must have been some sort of like hydration in there, I guess. They said there was something in there to like loosen the urinary tract to help this kidney pass. So I was like, okay, that's going to be great. So I sat there for 2 hours and I think within an hour, it took an hour for the pain to start going away. So I'm like, great. So then after the 2 hours, I just sat there with this empty bag. What's going on now? And then a lady came and took it out and then just left the room. So I'm sitting there for another 10 minutes. And I was like, maybe I should go and ask someone what's going on. And by the way, this entire time I'm in my pajamas because I just left the hotel in such like a rush. I was just in my pajamas. But anyway, so I went out into the area where the ladies wait for like patients to come in. At this time, the sun had risen. So it was now morning time, the sun had risen, and I think this all happened in a space of 2 hours and 30 minutes. So it took me 30 minutes to see a doctor, get an ultrasound, get the IV, get the medicine. I was so impressed with how quick it all was, with the driver paying this whole time. And then within 2.5 hours, by now maybe it was 7:30 a.m., I went up and I just translated like, what would you like me to do now? And then she just wrote on her phone, go home. So I was like, okay, so Jess has been, released from the hospital. So I called the driver. I was like, hey, is it okay if you come get me now? And he was like, yes. And he came. And then I asked him how much everything was. How much do I owe him when he came and picked me up? Everything cost 50 Australian dollars for everything. So I was like, wow. So when I found that out, I was like, that's amazing. So I didn't need to feel so bad of how much he was paying. Of course, I paid it back. And then I went to go out into the van to drive me home, and I realized it was actually a scooter.
There's the hospital, and I'm jumping on a scooter to come back to the hotel.
So I drove back home on the back of a scooter in my pajamas. I rock up at the hotel, and this one I was like, oh, this must just look very interesting.
I just rode through the city in my pajamas on the back of a scooter to get back to the hotel. I wish I had my phone on me for that moment, but oh my gosh, I feel so tired. Oh man, but I'm back. I'm back.
I walk into the hotel at 7 a.m. and there's this big group of German tourists just sitting in the lobby, just looking at me like, where has she been? She had a good night. I'm like, oh, just walking in with my backpack, in my jammies, walking back to my room. And at this time, I still hadn't passed the kidney stone. So I remember I went into the room, and then that's when the kids had woken up, and Stephen just didn't tell them what was going on. He didn't want to scare them. So I just walked in. I had no idea where I'd been. I made myself my little tea, and then the pain started again. And I was like, oh my gosh, the pain meds have already worn off. And so I was like, you know what? What helped me when I was in labor? Because this is basically like giving birth to a baby, except you're giving birth to a tiny baby, but it's coming out of such a tiny tube that it does feel like you're giving birth to a baby. Because like a kidney stone is this really sharp, almost crystallized stone that's made in your kidneys, I think. I may have this wrong. And then it goes through your urinary tract, and that's when it really hurts, because it's this sharp stone scratching like the urinary tract. And the only way you can, get the pain to be gone is if you wee out this kidney stone. I was like, okay, when I was in labor, what helped me was when I was in a hot shower. So what I did was I just put a movie on my phone, went in the hot shower, and most of my pain was in my back, left side. And so I just had hot water blasting on my back for 3 hours, and then I finally peed. And I just knew. I was like, it's gone. And then you know what I had to do after having a whole night of no sleep? I had to do a 2-hour drive in a van to a train station, and then I had to do an 8-hour train journey all the way to our next stop with 2 kids, watching 2 kids. After being in pain all night, I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this travel day?
Alrighty, we've just taken a 1.5-hour drive back to Goylin, where we first kind of caught that boat, right? We've gone back. We can catch our train from the Goylin train station. And it's about 7.5-hour train up to the Avatar Mountains. Just made it on board, guys. This train leaves in like 1 minute.
Alrighty, we're 7 hours in to our 7.5-hour train journey. How have you found it, Hunter? We're getting fresh air because we've been stuck in this train for 7 hours and the train stopped. All right, back in. 1, 2, 3. Whoop. Say, I did it. Bye. Bye.
知道了吗？
到了，下车的时刻，请带好行李物品，有序下车。下车时
没有这个
10 p.m. We did it. You did it. We did it. 8 hours later, guys. We did it.
But I just did it, and now I'm done. So that was my story of having kidney stones in China. But yeah, I guess I just wanted to share that story because that's my first time I've ever had, I guess, a hospital experience or like a travel sickness experience away that's been that bad where I've had to go to hospital and, you're just worried, like, what do you do in those situations? So I just thought I'd share it with you just so you know I got through it, and the Chinese people were so friendly, and I tipped those 2 guys. They weren't even expecting a tip. Like, when they're being so nice to you, like, oh, are they expecting a tip? Didn't even ask for one. I actually had to go and ask the reception to go find the 2 guys to come so I could thank them and tip them and to say like, I appreciate everything they did to help me. And I think the reason I had the kidney stones as well is that just before China, we went to Indonesia and it was unbelievably hot. Like 95% humidity, so sweaty every day. And we did a lot of hiking. And there was this one day where we hiked for 4.5 hours with the kids up this mountain to go stay with the local tribe for the night. And I remember being so worried about the kids running out of water that whole day I was like carrying the kids for 4.5 hours, sweating so crazy.
You're gonna love it up there. There's
Have
even
some
kids
water.
up there.
Have some water,
Just
bud.
woke up on me, so we're both like sweat on each other.
Smash it.
But I would only have little sips of my water because I was so nervous that I was going to run out of water for the kids. And I think that's what created the kidney stone, because they say that if you have like, you know, if you're not drinking enough water, then you have a lot of minerals building up in your urine, right? Because it's not diluted. And so that's what can make the crystals. And I think that's what happened because I've never had kidney stones and that is my guess. But the moral of the story is drink water, look after yourself when you're traveling, especially in a sweaty place. And if you're in pain, listen to your body, because I could have thought, hey, this might be a gastro issue and I stayed in bed, but no, I knew it was something worse. But yeah, I hope that was interesting for you guys and I hope you enjoyed the rest of our China series.
Hey everyone, hope you're enjoying the vlog so far. We just want to say a massive thank you to our longtime friends and partners of the channel, Squarespace, for their continuous support of our little family. And because they are the all-in-one platform design website, they want to help support your small business and family needs too. So if you're looking for a spot where you can just get everything done, we highly recommend checking out Squarespace. Because if you're a small business, they have professional website designs. You do not need to be a website designer. Jess did our whole website for us on Squarespace, and she definitely does not have a website design, and it came out so beautifully. Plus, if you get stuck, 24/7 customer support, so you can easily get it done. Also, if you're wanting to sell products with your small business, they offer physical, digital products, so you can have everything all in one, make beautiful invoices, track through the analytics. You can sell digital products like courses, ebooks, Google Map things. We sell a bunch of different products and you can do the same thing as well. So if you are new around here, make sure you check out our exclusive discount code right here, and I'll leave it a link below, and you can save 10% off your first order. Thanks so much, guys.
Come sit here because they won't know. Wait,
Sitting on
they
your lap.
totally know. Maybe we do need a reposition. Stevie was watching the kids and I was like, Steve, you need to come. He's on my lap right now and explain.
For Christmas,
Wait.
I want a big old Lego set, please.
I know you do. I know exactly what you want for Christmas. Which is, it's okay. There we go.
We're trying to get the light off the window.
There we go.
There we go.
Go like that. Okay.
Preferred sound.
Stevie was watching the kiddos and I was like, all right, you need to come and explain your side of the story because you would have experienced this thing in a completely different way.
Yeah, so what was it, like midnight you were
No,
saying?
2 o'clock was when I started waking you up. What
2
did you
o'clock.
think?
I
Were you
didn't
like,
know what
wow,
to
you
do.
got gastro, get over it.
Yeah, I honestly did think it was like food poisoning at the
I
start.
knew. It looked like that.
Yeah, it looked like food poisoning, and like we were in China and we've been there for a couple of days. You're like, our food had completely changed. Even if it wasn't food poisoning, it could be just your belly being like,
What's
what
with
are we
all
eating?
this rice?
And we just had that beer battered fish.
Oh
It could have
yeah,
been
we
the
had
beer
just had
battered
the beer fish. Please cut to me having that beer fish. Never again. It
And
wasn't
then-
beer battered fish. It was a beer broth.
I didn't mind it. It wasn't
Okay.
too bad. And then what was it? I was like, okay, maybe just... Because I hadn't known what you'd been dealing with up until that point. I thought like it was 2 a.m. You'd just woken up with it. So what was I thinking? Just like deal with it. Is that so bad to say? But I
It's
think
true
it was,
though. Sometimes when it's gastro, you just gotta deal
you
with
just
it.
got to deal with it. But for you to have woken me up, it must have been bad. But also I was half asleep, so I wasn't sure what was going on. Because a
that
lot
was
of
at
times
2
you
a.m.
will like just deal with it in the background.
Yeah, and I think it was when I woke you up at 4 a.m.
Yeah,
and I was
that's
on
when
the
I-
floor of the bathroom in pain, and you're like, oh, okay.
I don't
What's
know
going
why
on?
we're laughing. But it was like 4 a.m. and then we were in the middle of nowhere, China. Like we were at the smallest little town, and even the smallest little town, like the hotel we were staying at, was not in the town where we had dinner. So it was like way more rural than that. It was at least a 40-minute walk into town.
Which then I didn't expect how close the hospital was going to be. Came out of nowhere.
So I went downstairs and, of course, 4 a.m, like, this is a mom and pop owned hotel, right? There was no, it wasn't like a Novotel or Hilton where there was 24/7 reception. So I think I poked my head out of the elevator and it was pitch black.
So that's why you couldn't see anyone down there.
Yeah, I didn't really explore too much. I like looked, I was like, obviously no one's there, so I went up to Jess.
You weren't looking for anyone in a little cot.
And then I think we'd wait like 5-10 minutes. Jess is like, we need to do something. Now, usually we can make phone calls and we'd make all our international calls on Skype because you could buy local currency.
So Steven's like, let's just call like the ambulance.
But couldn't. Skype shut down now. So
and were you
I was
trying
like,
to call on them on the phone, but you couldn't work it out?
couldn't work it out how to call like what the emergency line is in China. And then I decided, let me just call the reception and see if it like buzzes somewhere else.
Yeah, see, this is the bit I explained, but I didn't know what he said to you on the phone.
Yeah, so I called the reception and someone did open. This guy was like, hello. Well, he answered in Chinese, and then I explained it. He started switching to English. And then I found out this was like the groundskeeper, do you want to call him that?
That's what I was
like
calling him in the story.
security guard? I don't know what he
I thought
was.
the groundskeeper. He like watches the place, I guess, when it's not open.
And then what happened, like, he was like, okay, do you want me to call an ambulance or I can take you? And I was like, can you please take us? Because I didn't know what to do with the ambulance side. And then he was like, okay, give me 5 minutes. And I was like, okay, cool.
I
And
just
then,
couldn't believe he got a driver within 5 minutes.
yeah, because it wasn't him, right? It was another person.
Yeah, but he came with me. It was the groundskeeper and the driver couldn't speak English.
Okay.
But
so-
the groundskeeper could.
yeah.
The driver was the one who ended up paying for everything, and the groundskeeper was the one who translated for me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I know. And so then what did it feel like when you saw me? And then how I realised I didn't even bring an ID with me.
Well,
and
I
you
think in
saw
the
me
moment,
jump-
it's 4 a.m, you're like half asleep. You're like, okay, what do we do? And
What
then,
did you think when I jumped into a van and you just saw it drive away?
well, first we walked downstairs and I saw the groundkeeper's bed. I was like, oh wow, this dude is just sleeping on a mattress with a mosquito net to like stop the mosquitoes. And it was still pitch black. And then we went in the car and I was like,
No, I went in the car.
You went in the
just
car.
watched me drive off.
yeah, of course you explained why.
Well, yeah, because the kids are asleep in the hotel room, so only I'm leaving.
yeah,
Steven's
'cause
there with the kids.
We're not packing up all the kids at 4 a.m. to ship
It was
them
like
to
a rush down because we didn't want to wake up the kids, so we just like rushed downstairs. Literally, Steven picked me up and threw me in this van.
And then like...
And then he saw me drive away.
And then I was like, as she was driving away, I was like, I should probably take a picture of this license plate in case just gets like kidnapped. And then I took a picture of it. It was at night, so you know when iPhone does the night mode, so it was like, just
No
drive.
help at all.
I was like, okay.
Luckily, I had my phone on me, so
Bye,
I could
Jess.
update you. But I was also so much in pain, I just wasn't bothering telling him what was going on.
Yeah, so then I went upstairs and then, of course, just like stayed awake till the morning. And then the kids woke up and like, where's mum?
Yeah, I was like, just don't tell him what happened.
Yeah, I just said mum was out. And then you came back at 6?
No, at 7:30 I came
Oh,
back.
7:30.
Yeah. But I was more just wondering what you felt like when I went. And then when I realised I had no WeChat, no ID,
Oh, yeah, you
I was
couldn't-
so unprepared.
I think I was like screenshotting my WeChat, like barcode, and be like, can they
you pay?
scan this and I
couldn't.
can accept the payment?
That's why it was so nice that I had the driver just there. Because I'm like, if they just left me there, I couldn't have paid anything. No, my favourite bit of the whole thing, though, was when I didn't have my ID and I wrote my name. Jess Parry Valentine. They're like, that's too long. So I just wrote Jess. And that's all I was known as. On all the stuff, it'll just say Jess. I think it'll say it on here, but in China. Oh, yeah, look. Wait. You see my name on it?
Jess.
Can they see that?
Let me focus it.
When it says name, it literally just says Jess.
Jess.
That was
Wait,
it.
did you show them the ultrasound?
Oh, there's my ultrasound of my unborn kidney stone child.
Guys, we're expecting her.
Expecting twins in the form of kidney stones. Yeah, but that's my story. But I thought I'd pop Steven in here for the end, just so you can kind of see his point of view. Were you scared? Were you worried about me? Mm-hmm. And then what did you
It
think?
was like so
when-
many things. It was like the stress of not being able to fix the problem because you're like, I can't contact anyone. Remember, Google doesn't work in China. I can't contact
Yeah, that's
anyone.
the thing. Like we're in
Can't
the...
call anyone.
It's an interesting country for something like that to happen because there's a huge language barrier. You can't even pay on my card. They were like, no, you can't pay card. It has to be WeChat. I'm like, it's like things like that. It's just a crazy place to have this experience. And then
And then you mentioned what happened the next day on the train?
No. I told them about how I went on the train.
Yeah, she went on a train for 8.5 hours.
Looking after two kids.
Looking after 2 kids and, like, getting rid of a kidney stone.
And getting rid of a kidney stone.
Yeah. And we couldn't have flown. We looked at flying. It
Oh,
was
so expensive.
12 hours to fly and, like, too much money.
just
You had to
didn't work.
fly back to...
And it would have
Hong Kong.
ruined our itinerary. I was like, no, I just want to keep going because I know if I just had one night's sleep, I'd be okay. And then we were impressed when it was a kidney stone and Jess was like, hey, she thought it was something like that.
Mm.
And I thought I was right. But anyway, we can now wrap this up.
Hope you guys enjoy. Like, of course, we didn't have.
But
filming
I
the
wasn't
entire
filming because
thing.
I was in so much pain and not really thinking about it.
But let
In
us know-
hindsight, though, I wish I'd shown the bathroom. That was the most shocking thing for me.
Mm.
Was the standards of the bathroom at the hospital and me walking along in pain, holding onto the walls while I was going to that ultrasound
And I love how
room.
that it just like gave you the IV and then just was like, bye.
Yeah, and like hooked me up in it, and then I had no idea what was going on. There was like flies flying around me. I was like, what is this? Yeah.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. But if you guys wanted us to actually share these real stories for you, or if you're like, guys, that didn't need to be a video, let us know below.
No, it did need to be a video. People are interested in what is happening. But anyway, I knew I would waffle too much in the next vlog. And the next vlog, see, we're waffling right now, but the next vlog, we are taking you to the most beautiful place in China.
Yeah.
And I was like, if it started off with 20 minutes of me talking about being in hospital, it would take away from the beauty that is about to happen. So enjoy the next video. Enjoy our China series. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.